I'm going to go over 5 mistakes that I made during my playthrough of the First Descendant, how you can avoid doing these, and what you should do instead. Just before the video starts, these tips are sort of ranked in order from, you know, my worst mistake being Energy Activators to my least worst mistake being Kuiper farming with code activators. If you do learn anything from the video today and you're able to avoid any of these mistakes, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave any of the mistakes that you made in the comments below to help other people avoid making them. And if there's anything you think I should have mentioned that I didn't, leave it in the comments below too. Go to the description or the pinned comment and join the Discord to meet more people to play the First Descendant with. The first mistake that I made was wasting both of my energy activators that you get for free while playing through the game. If you've used your energy activators on weapons, it's not too big of a deal because most of the other weapons are going to be pretty useful, but do not use your energy activators on a descendant that you get at the start of the game, especially not the likes of Viessa, Ajax, Lepic, or Bunny. All 4 of those have good ultimates that are easy to farm. Glay is a different story, but if you're willing to farm up Glay, farm her up, but she only drops at 6% chances for all of her parts, so she is a little bit different than the others because she is much harder to get. But if you do what I done and upgraded someone like Freyna, I'll have a look. I gave up on her. I put my energy activator in, I have 5 catalysts in her, and I've just decided it's not worth it. I went and I farmed for Ultimate Lepic, who's currently building. I don't have an energy activator to use on him. I don't have any other weapons other than my Thunder Cage because I don't have any energy activators. They do not drop very commonly. Now, I know some people get a lot of them, and I know some people, like myself, have literally never got one. And it's not that I don't farm. I'm building Ultimate Lepic. I've built like Enzo. I have all Cal's parts. I have all Ajax, all Viessa, and I picked Lepic. So I do farm quite a bit, but I've never had one drop. The best way I would recommend you to spend both of your energy activators that you get throughout the story is obviously use one on a gun you like. Thunder Cage is a great option because you get it at the start of the game and it is still one of my favorites throughout the entire game. When it comes to which descendant, obviously Ultimate Bunny is a very, very good descendant. She is great for farming and you'll probably end up using Normal Bunny a lot even if you don't build her. Like I still use Normal Bunny. I don't really have a good Normal Bunny build because I'm not putting any catalysts in her and I'm not putting an energy activator into her. I'm going to wait until I get Ultimate Bunny. But either Ultimate Bunny or Ultimate Lepic would be my first goals because you then have a farmer and someone who can do bosses. So pick one of those 2. Use your energy activator on one of those 2. Until then, 60 module slots on a character will be more than enough to carry you through as long as you have a strong gun. All you really need on your character to make the game a little easier is good HP and defense, right? Because your gun can do the rest. I was trying to build up my Freyna to have huge damage on her LMG, and yes, you can do it, but with the level of investment it takes just for when Ultimate Freyna comes out to have to do it all again, it's not worth it. It just really isn't. And now that I've decided that, and that's on me, I've decided I no longer want to use Freyna. She's the only one that I really can use because she's upgraded and it makes doing everything else quite a bit easier. But once I get my Ultimate Lepic, I have nothing to use on him, so I'm going to have to catalyst him a bunch and use him at 60 mod capacity until I get another react. If you get the Thunder Cage at the start and put your energy activator on it, that's great. And this is mistake number 2, rerolling your ultimate weapons. Rerolling the basic weapons isn't too bad because the materials are quite cheap, but rerolling these ultimate, they are not cheap. Now you may just look at it and go, right, 1 isn't very expensive, and that's not very expensive as it only takes 200 liquid metal, or when you get a little further in, you'll be using the advanced components to build like 20 of them at a time. But when you start to lock your stats, because you don't want to lose firearm critical rate, you don't want to lose firearm attack, you don't want to lose firearm critical damage, all of a sudden it costs 20. And the reason you don't want to be doing this before your weapon is at level 100 is if you re-roll any stat of a weapon, I'll see if I have one. We'll have a look at this one, right? We'll re-roll these stats. We will then level that weapon up. 3 purple bonuses and a blue bonus. You don't even need to worry about what the bonuses are. We'll put this in. Now all the bonuses are right. So if you had spent lots of those resources trying to upgrade your Thunder Cage and get the perfect rolls on it, like I did, I had some really good rolls on my Thunder Cage when it was like level 40, but then I upgraded it more and these rolls all changed and I had no resources left to roll anymore. And then when I did come to wanting to build it like this, I had to wait quite a while for 20 of these to build at a time because I've had to roll this at 20 multiple times. So don't do weapon readjustments until your weapons are level 100. You're not just going to want to build yourself to have the highest DPS number possible, because you could get this number up to 600k pretty easily with a bunch of reload mods and a bunch of fire attack mods and fire rate mods. But that's not actually going to make you do more damage building into the ideal stat for the weapon is going to make you deal much more damage. When you're building a weapon, you can see the stats on the side. On the left hand side, it will show you your applied values. And what someone pointed out in the comments on one of my last videos is if I just hit tab, there's my weapon info. I don't have to go and search for the info in the access journal. This is much easier. You can just scroll down here and see what your weapon is good at. Obviously, the Thunder Cage is good at critical hits, and the Thunder Cage is good at critical hit damage. Your weapon can be better at burst damage. It can be better at attribute status effect trigger rate. That's your elements. So if you put elements on your weapons, you get element status effects more, and then you also have weak point damage. These are going to be the main stats that you are building your weapon into. Obviously, you have your firearm attack and fire rate, which you're going to upgrade anyway, but look, from fire critical hit rate down to weak point damage, whichever stats of these that are the highest, they are the ones that you're going to want to build for. So I have my Thunder Cage at 522586. I went over a build for this already, and I also did a general modding guide. I will put a card to both of those videos just up in that corner, and you'll be able to go and watch those or watch after this video. Totally up to you. The next mistake was one thing I found myself doing quite a lot because I wanted to keep up to date in my levels, was before I hit level 100, I was trying to farm reactors and external components for my characters. While you're progressing up to level 100, it's not that your substats matter all that much, but your main stats are going to change every time the level gets higher. So you don't really want to farm your external components until you're at level 100, when you can actually get the best stats possible in the main role and get good substats so that you never actually have to change them around. If you do get some external components, for example, that have equipment drop rate up, goals rate up, Kuiper rate up, you have EXP rate up, you have a bunch of different support items like that. They aren't too bad when you're progressing through the game, especially if you haven't level 40'd your gear yet. You can equip those instead of these. For example, this one, right? Character EXP gain. If your character isn't level 40, put a character EXP gain mod on, even if it's not your highest level, because you're not at level 100 yet, you're going to get more benefit from your character EXP gain modifier. For example, let's say I have a level 40 sensor that had 200 HP, and I had a level 80 sensor that had 400 HP. The 80 sensor had bad rolls, and the level 40 sensor had this 0.19x character EXP game modifier. I would tell you to use that level 40 with a character EXP game modifier, simply because it'll help you out in the meantime. Because once you hit level 100 gear and hit hard mode, you're able to go and farm up level 100 external components and target those specific sub roles. If you want a level 100 with the EXP drop rates up, go and get it. That's fine. But before you hit level 100, don't go out of your way to get any of those roles. It'll be a waste of time and you'll regret doing it. On the other hand of this, you have reactors. You can't really farm reactors very well. up until level 100, when the weekly rotation becomes more of a thing. You can target farm reactors. But the mistake you see people make with reactors is upgrading them very early. If you go and have a look at the reactor enhancement, so you need 15 of these in order to upgrade your reactor twice. And it only adds, look at that, 700 skill power. You're not going to benefit an awful lot from 700 skill power. And these cost 650 superconductive cores per item, not per 15, per item. So you're going to have to spend 650 times 15 just to do one reactor to level 2, instead of wait until you're level 100 gear, get a good reactor and upgrade that one. That way you're not having to constantly waste materials building the precision ion accelerators, and when you end up getting a good reactor, you already have the precision ion accelerators waiting to upgrade it. As long as you built them, that is. If you haven't built them, you'll have the resources to build them because you haven't been wasting them. And for the last mistake that I made was farming Kuiper through hard encrypted storage boxes. There's a lot of guides on YouTube that are going to tell you the best way to get Kuiper is to farm those encrypted storage boxes, and then they're going to tell you to open up Agna Desert, teleport here on hard mode, open the box, reload it, open the box, reload it, and yes, that will get you a lot of Kuiper, but what they always fail to mention is that you need your precision code breakers, right? The purple ones are quite rare to get. You're not going to have tons and tons of them. Even at that, the blues and the whites, if you're not farming for them, you're not going to have tons of them. And when it comes down to you need to meet resources like mixed energy residue, which I have a lot of because I opened a lot in Agna Desert. That's why I know it's not the right thing to do. I have no thermal metallic foil right now. I could have farmed up more of that with my encrypted storage boxes. Again, conductive metal foil. none of that because I didn't farm encrypted storage boxes in the Vespers. So just keep an eye out for resources you need from the encrypted storage boxes if you go to Farm Kuiper from it, because it is a really good way to get Kuiper, because you can get up to like 75k from a purple storage box, encrypted storage box. That's a lot of Kuiper, but you don't really need all that much Kuiper. The more you progress into the game, you start to notice once you get your initial mods that you wanted upgraded, you don't really spend all that much anymore. It's now gold you need. Whereas once you get your gold and you go to build one of your new descendants, you all of a sudden have to do more encrypted storage boxes. And it's not that it necessarily takes a while to farm encrypted storage boxes, it's getting the code analyzers that's the issue. If you want to build an ultimate descendant and you've just farmed up all the parts, you'd be devastated to go and find out now you have to farm up some code analyzers just to get barely any of the resources. Especially if you're doing it on normal, you barely get any resources. If you're doing it on hard, then the drop rates are harder. So don't farm it all in one spot. My advice, if you say you have 10, right? 10 encrypted storage boxes, open one per area and then rotate back. So if you open an encrypted storage box in the Agna Desert, because that's what the guide was telling you to do, go to the next one, Sterile Lands, go to the next one, Fortress, Hagos, Echo Swamps, Kingston, Vespers, White Knight Gulch. And if you still have more code breakers and you still want to keep opening more, go back to the Agna Desert and just repeat the process and go around the map, getting one per map, because that way you're going to have your resources more evenly spread out. If you need to target farm. I'm not saying you shouldn't target farm encrypted storage boxes for resources you need. I'm saying you should not farm them specifically for Kuiper. This is probably one of the lesser mistakes. I had them kind of going from importance to least importance. That's all for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope after watching this you were able to avoid making some of these mistakes. Worst case scenario, you watch the video and go, shit, I made those mistakes too. If you did learn anything, or this is going to help you in the future, hit that like and subscribe button. We're pushing for 1k subs and we're actually almost there. But that is all for today's video. I'm going to have to love yous and leave yous. Goodbye.